Come and get them here, Minneapolis and St. Paul. The Twin Cities now have Toyotas, and more Toyotas. Twin Cities Special Toyota Celebration. Our biggest inventory of 83 Toyotas this year. Front-wheel and four-wheel drive Tercels. Sporty Celicas, twin-cam Supras, dependable Corollas, and more. We're out to make the Twin Cities the Toyota capital of the Midwest. Make your best deal now. Twin Cities Special Toyota Celebration. You could drive home your new Toyota now.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. From WCCO Television, the Northwest's leading news station, this is the 6 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. A jury in Fargo, North Dakota will spend some of this weekend reflecting on the events of February 13th, when two federal marshals were shot to death on a road near Medina, North Dakota. They were planning to arrest Gordon Call, a tax protester, but instead a gunfight ensued which left the two marshals dead, 4 persons in custody, and Gordon Call at large. This hour, the fate of Gordon Call's wife, Joan, and his son, Yuri, is with the jury.
They are among 4 defendants tried for the deaths of the marshals. Testimony wrapped up in the 3-week trial, and the jury will be deciding the charges this weekend. Among today's developments, a pistol carried by one of the defendants turned up today in Fargo and tends to back up at least one defense argument. Lisa Schrofer reports.
Closing arguments were interrupted today with the discovery at a Fargo shopping center of what the prosecution believes is a semi-automatic pistol Yuri Call used at the fatal shootout. A maintenance man found the gun in a trash container. The weapon was admitted into evidence. It's not yet clear how or why it got there. The gun is embedded with a bullet, which squares with earlier testimony of defense witnesses. Earlier, Prosecutor Dennis Fisher said there was plenty of time at the roadblock for the defendants to surrender their weapons before any shot was fired. In this country, he said, when police tell you to throw down your gun, you do. Fisher said the marshals had identified themselves and said they had a warrant for Gordon Call's arrest. He said the marshals' plan turned out to be a disaster, but the plan was not on trial. Scott Fall's attorney said Scott may have hit someone. It's clear that nobody knows. But he said Fall was terrified that his life was in danger, and his actions were justified, even if his fears were unfounded. Yuri Call's attorney said the government hammered his client with leading questions as he came out of anesthesia for gunshot wounds of his own, and his admission that he may have fired the first shot is unreliable.
At this point, the fate of both Yuri Call and his friend Scott Fall appears to hang on whether the jury buys their argument that they were acting in self-defense. The photographer Bob Mannery, Lisa Schrofer, WCCO Television News, Fargo, North Dakota.
A 21-year-old Minneapolis man has been sentenced to life in prison for the murder of an elderly blind woman last November. 21-year-old Mitchell Pierce today became the second person to be convicted in the murder of Luella Larson. He was immediately sentenced to Stillwater Prison. 2 others are also scheduled to stand trial in that case. A 32-year-old Roman Catholic priest was sentenced to 6 months behind bars and 10 years probation today for the sexual abuse of a 16-year-old former altar boy. Father Gilbert Gustafson has been a priest at St. Mary's of the Lake Parish in White Bear for 6 years. The sexual abuse had recently been going on for up to 5 years. In Minneapolis, there is a controversy developing over how some federal job funds should be distributed here.
At stake are $4.2 million federal dollars. Today, the City Council gave preliminary approval to a DFL-supported plan to spend the money on jobs. But as Mike Walsher reports, not everyone agrees on how the money should be divvied up.
The Ways and Means and the Community Development Committees chose 18 projects out of 135 proposals for funding. More than $1 million would pay for jobs for young people and for jobs in community service. Another $480,000 would pay for building a transit station on the west side of Hennepin Avenue between 5th and 6th Streets downtown. And another $1 million would be spent to build multifamily housing on vacant school sites throughout the city.
The way to get construction on school sites is to devise a financing plan which is affordable to a wide enough group of people that you can get construction loans, mortgage money, and thus construction and construction jobs. The evidence is sitting right out there in our very own neighborhoods, and if we don't look at that evidence, we're blind.
The young families won't buy in the city with kids unless we provide mortgage money that can construct townhomes, construct single-family houses, as our plan does, and produce jobs.
Independent Republicans argue that more of the money should be spent on actual job creation and training and not on construction. But they lost this round 7-1 with 4 abstentions. A public hearing on the jobs plan will be held in mid-June, and final council action will not be taken until after that. The city can begin spending the federal dollars on July 1st. I'm Mike Walcher, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Health officials in St. Paul say they have pinpointed the source of lead poisoning in the Hmong community. That story is next on the 6 p.m. report.
The last time you shopped for a suit, a sport coat, a pair of slacks, was it in one retail store, not another? Each store had hundreds of items, but only a few in your size and hardly any you liked? Well, next time, visit the Kuppenheimer Factory Outlet Store. You'll find more styles in your size, all at lower prices than any retailer can afford to offer. You see, we're a factory, and we sell our famous Kuppenheimer quality clothes direct to you. Eliminate the big markups and let you keep the savings.
On 42nd Avenue North, New Hope, and Hazelton Road, Edina.
Say goodbye to thin lawns and bare patches for good. From Northrop King Research comes Fast and Fine. For fast repair of bare patches and thin lawns, Fast and Fine comes up quicker, sends roots deeper. For strong, resilient grass, summer after summer. And Fast and Fine blends in perfectly. No one else gives you Fast and Fine. Only Northrop King, the leader in new ideas for lawn care.
Marathon is underway at Bob Carter Ford, AMC Jeep and Renault. If you want to save, right now is the right time for the right car at the right price, right here. For example, a brand new Ford Escort for as little as $57.39, or another great gas economizer, a Renault Alliance as low as $61.96. Everything's on sale. It's a Memorial Marathon and it's happening now. 5 minutes east of the Mendota Bridge on 110 or South Robert to 110, Bob Carter Ford, AMC Jeep and Renault.
In St. Paul, it looks like a medicine used by the Hmong community may be the source of lead poisoning there.
At least 3 youngsters have been treated for lead poisoning, and health officials say they've traced the possible source to a medicinal powder traditionally used by the Hmong to treat fevers. The story from Barb Braun.
The red powder is sometimes called Pelua. It's sold throughout Southeast Asia as a fever remedy for children. Many refugees brought the powder with them to this country and use it.
Because when your kid have fever, you just give them a little bit and fevers come down. So it makes them feel better than take the kid to the hospital.
Area doctors have been trying to find out why the incidence of lead poisoning is so high among children. 25 cases of higher than normal lead levels were reported over the last 17 months, and several children have levels high enough to warrant treatment, a shot given each day for 5 days. Lead-based paint was thought to be the main cause of lead poisoning in children.
We've been baffled, in fact, by about 10 or 11 cases so far this year that don't have a source of lead in their homes.
So Dr. Levitt asked the parents of one of the children about the kinds of medications they use. They told her about the powder. A sample was analyzed and found to have a lead content of 8%. At this point, doctors and Hmong leaders are cautioning Hmong people not to use the powder.
Cease using the red powder in particular, the Pelua, and that we be able to give them further word on subsequent analysis of other samples of this in other children with lead poisoning.
Hai đôi thân thời cho cái trà sẽ đập bao hay tiệt cho Pelua nó này chỉ trong mỗi đôi này cho mình nhọn nó đó khó nó chỉ, giờ qua cái này cho mình nhọn trà thì sẽ cái này sẽ bao nhiêu gì cả khuตัวđó ở chỗ ở sẽ sụn trà theo ở chỗ gì bé sụn này nụ là yên gì.
Doctors here plan to do further studies of lead poisoning patients they've treated over the last year and of the red powder. So it could be several weeks before a confirmation of the link between the poisonings and the powder can be confirmed. Barb Brown, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
The last 2 decades have seen a sharp rise in the number of unwed mothers. In 1960, about 3% of new mothers in our area were unmarried. In 1980, however, health department officials found that 14% of new mothers remained single. A report on the phenomena concludes that the metropolitan area must have improved family planning services. Officials say young girls must be taught the responsibility of birth control. Pat?
American Indians in St. Paul have won a major legal battle with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. At issue was whether some federal housing money could be used exclusively for Indian housing. Alan Cox reports.
Words of thanksgiving spoken in Ojibwe, followed by gestures familiar to other Americans.
Too many months or years that since we started this here Intertribal Housing Corporation in St. Paul for our Indian people, I was going around like this. Now I can go like that.
The battle was joined 2 years ago. Indian groups in St. Paul wanted to build 24 homes like this one on scattered sites throughout the city. The state put up $720 million. The city was willing to assign some of its federal housing money. But the federal agency, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, said no. HUD said funding housing exclusively for Indians was discriminatory unless it was done on a reservation. Federal Judge Diana Murphy ruled this morning there is no discrimination. That preference is allowed for Indians off the reservation as well as on. Indian leaders say this gives them more power over their own lives.
We can say, how many jobs will this create? Not only for Indian people, but for black people, for other minorities.
City and state money is still set aside for the project. Indian officials had charged in their suit that the federal officials who withheld the money from the project were discriminating against Indians. The officials charged today that that discrimination was part of an overall policy of the Reagan administration toward minorities. HUD officials had denied there was any discrimination involved, and Judge Murphy today refused to find fault with the officials who withheld the money. HUD attorneys say they have not seen the rest of the ruling yet and have not decided whether to appeal it. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
If you are planning to camp this Memorial Day weekend, you better check ahead because most campgrounds are already spoken for. The story coming up.
Just look at that drive. The Honda 21-inch lawnmower is showing us tremendous power up the tee. All right, let's go to Barry Woods in the rough.
Well, I'm out here with the Honda Pro model, and it is just eating up this tall, wet grass. We got a real winner here. Alice, you up on the green?
Yes, Barry, with Honda's 17-inch lightweight. Oh, look at it ring the cup.
The Honda lawnmowers. If you're not using one, you've got a big handicap.
The Mr. Turtle Pool can help to keep you cool. You can sit on the rim or slide right into the Mr. Turtle Pool. The Mr. Turtle Pool can help to keep you cool. You can slide down the slide and have a great ride in the Mr. Turtle Pool. There's lots of room for you and even a friend or two. There's splashing fun for the little ones in the Mr. Turtle Pool.
Mr. Turtle Pool, a pool from the Slide and Splash line by Coleco. Partial assembly required.
You're looking at the remarkable Wilson ham. Remarkable because it may be the leanest ham you'll ever taste. 93% fat-free, full of flavor and natural juices. Totally delicious. But most remarkable is that every slice of every Wilson ham is lean through and through. For lean, juicy ham, all ham, first slice to the last, try the Wilson 93% fat-free ham. Remarkable.
Almost irresistible, those money market interest rates the banks have been dangling. Some gave 20% in December for a few weeks. Then in January, less. February, even less. March, April, not so much to bite at anymore. Aren't you better off now in a money market mutual fund? There's no come on, plus other benefits the banks don't offer. Money market mutual funds, the full-time professionals in the money market.
The advent of the Memorial Day holiday has produced a boom for one industry.
It seems that many Minnesotans picked this weekend to begin camping for the summer. Campgrounds in many areas have been booked up for days as a result, and as Debbie Ely reports, check ahead if you're planning on finding a campground this weekend.
The scene, a holiday weekend during 1982 at Baker Park Reserve. Cars were lined up with campers trying to get a space. And this is how Baker Park looks this weekend. The campers who are waiting know they'll have a space. That's because this is the first year Baker Park has taken phone reservations.
It's going quite well. We have the campground filled for this weekend.
Park officials say public response has been excellent. Most people realize that even though the new reservation system costs $3 more, it's worth it.
In the past, people have had to come out on Wednesday, Tuesday night and set up a site and pay for it for the entire weekend just to be assured of getting a spot. This way, they know they have a site. They don't have to take off work early to come out. They can just come out on Friday afternoon, Friday evening at their leisure and be guaranteed that there will be a site for them.
There are a few rules which apply for reservations. All fees must be paid by noon Friday, or the camper loses his or her space. Once your site is paid, it's yours for the period booked, even if you do run late. So if you missed out on camping this holiday weekend, and you yearn for a burger on the grill, a dip in the lake, and a place for the kids to recreate, Hennepin County Park Reserve officials recommend making reservations now for the 4th of July weekend. Debbie Ely, WCCO Television News.
A group of Minnesota farmers has taken the U.S. Agriculture Secretary John Block to court. The farmers from Stearns and Mille Lacs counties claim that Secretary Block and his assistants, or underlings, failed to abide by a 1978 law which requires the Secretary to forego foreclosure and defer loan payments if the farmer, through circumstances beyond his control, cannot make loan payments. The farmers also accuse the Farmers Home Administration of forcing them to take out loans much larger than they can afford. The 3 farm families named all face foreclosures. The complaint also asks that their foreclosure actions be delayed and requests similar consideration for other Minnesota farmers who are involved also in foreclosure proceedings. The complaint was filed in U.S. District Court in Duluth.
Well, we must all have some good karma because the weather wizards in the WCCO Weather Center say we're going to have a nice holiday weekend. The full forecast coming up.
Sure, you love your garden, but that weekly weeding and cultivating is hard work. Now, the Toro electric power hoe makes short work of weed control. You can use it to break up clods, mix in fertilizer, and aerate the soil. You can go between the plants and into corners. You can cut a 7-inch swath up to 3 inches deep. The Toro power hoe. It's a great gift for the gardener in your life.
See the yellow pages for your nearest Toro dealer.
Jim, Pam, the party's just starting. Come on in. You're painting? No, we're painting. Fun. It is fun when I save $3 a gallon on the Great One and Designer's Touch paint at Color Tile's home fix-up sale. Terrific. You know they were proven superior to leading brands in independent testing? And Armstrong Solarian No-Ax Tile is 20 to 30% off with rebate. Plus a great selection of wallpaper, 25 to 50% off. Hi, boy, are Jim and Pam going to be glad to see you.
Color Tile. All the choices make all the difference.
The time has come for the sale of the year in the Twin Cities. The car that was named the official car of the Olympics, the Indy 500, and the Super Bowl was Buick. And now Skylarks are starting at $77.18, and 9.9 annual percentage rate financing is available, which could save you over $1,300. Come into the American Car Celebration, only at Walzer, Bill Gonzalez, Ray Elliott, Berkeley, Bill Whitaker, and Stevens Buick.
Where can you get a lot of gold for just a little green?
Arthur Treacher's! Arthur Treacher's!
Who gives you prime North Atlantic whitefish dipped in a secret golden batter, cooked up golden brown, and served up hot and crunchy?
Arthur Treacher's! Arthur Treacher's!
Where does a big meal like this cost only a little?
Arthur Treacher's!
Arthur Treacher's, where you get a lot of golden crunch for just a little green.
Now, fish and shrimp combo only $2.99 at participating Arthur Treacher's.
Well, a lot of people evidently getting an early start on the weekend, either getting out to the beach.
I'm leaving right now.
You're going to leave? No, stay a couple more minutes and hear the forecast now. Getting out to the beach or getting out of town. Say, we go into the weekend this way. A year ago, we started out on a Friday morning with 73 degrees and a warm weekend. Just last year, in 69, we had one of the warmest Memorial Day weekends. We started out with temperatures at 95 and 90s through the weekend. The coolest start of the weekend, Memorial Day, was in 1907. We started out with temperatures in the mid-30s for early morning temperatures that weekend. Well, we've cooled off a little bit with 71 high today. We're cloudy and 67 present temperature. Humidity at 75%. The wind is from the east, 17 to 21 miles an hour. Pressure reading is 2986. The pressure is rising. Well, the figures for May the 27th, 1983 now. 55 was our morning temperature. 71 with a high. Sunrise at 5:33 and sunset at 8:48. And a rather large, well, about this size, a large high-pressure center, cool, dry air settled over part of the lakes in the Ohio Valley in the early morning hours. Temperature at 26 at Marquette, Michigan, 36 this morning at Pittsburgh and 33 at Beckley, West Virginia. Well, here's where the warm air was this morning. It was 72 at Brownsville, 70 at Tucson, 54 degrees this morning at Portland. We have a severe thunderstorm watch for much of Iowa, parts of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri through the evening hours. There are some, looks like a thunderstorm there right along the Missouri-Iowa border at the moment. Precipitation scattered, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico. Thunderstorms in the northern part of New Mexico. Thunderstorms scattered through Texas. In southern Texas, the remnants of the tropical storm Adolf with thunderstorms there around Brownsville and scattered showers in the northeast today, New York City, with 1/3 of an inch of rain. We have some showers, too, over southwestern Minnesota, south of Redwood Falls, Watawan, and Martin County. Those are all moving to the southeast of the northern part of Iowa. Other showers are scattered from Duluth to just north of Eau Claire. And here in the metro area, we do have a chance of showers early in the evening, then becoming partly cloudy. Northeast winds tonight at 10 to 20 miles an hour, 52 degrees for our overnight temperature. And for tomorrow, partly sunny. Northwest winds at 5 to 20 and the afternoon temperature at 73. And into the rest of the weekend. Okay, fair to partly cloudy Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. However, you'll notice our figures here. We're going to cool off considerably to the mid part of next week, going 72 Sunday to a 58 on Wednesday, and evening temperatures of 42 to 35.
Well, that Wednesday looks kind of cold.
It does. Well, we'll
right,
we'll hope we don't have any frost. I shouldn't have said that.
No.
I shouldn't have said that.
Goodness.
Here comes the frost.
Here comes the frost. Bill Fitch, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, resigned today. That story in last night's NBA highlights ahead on the Sports Report.
It's showtime. Introducing Burpee Grow Fertilizer. Just sprinkle some around your plants, wait a few weeks, and let the show begin. With Burpee Grow Fertilizer, you get a lot more vegetables. So get some at your local store and enjoy great performances all summer long. There's Grow for flowers, too.
Value Plus from Dayton's, the North Briar cotton polo shirt for men, just $19.99. In stripes or solids, cool, comfortable, from Dayton's. Value Plus.
Right now, this Northland sale is gonna be the best Ford sale you'll ever see. Get special prices marked so low. When you see our deals, you can't say no. Get 9.9 APR when you make a deal on the right Ford car right now. Thunderbird and Bronco 2 and Tempo, hey, they're all brand new. Mustang, Escort, LTG, your Northland Ford dealer, the one to see right now. We've got the right car, the right price, the right time is now, right now.
When you run a small business, problems can leave you groping in the dark.
You couldn't sleep either, huh?
Unless you have a reliable guide, like the Texas Instruments professional computer.
We do it by Tuesday?
It helps you control inventory, check alternate schedules, and gives you answers today. So tomorrow dawns as planned.
Mike, I've got it. Right.
The TI Professional Computer. See your Sunday paper for our free memory expansion offer.
Not 5 minutes ago in Detroit, the Twins are down 2 runs. Ralph, John, and I agreed that a year ago you're going to kiss that game goodbye. And then we said, no, there's always hope. It happened just a minute ago.
There is this year, at least, Dave. It's 4-4 now in the 6th inning. They have a big 3-spot going for them, the Twins do. The RBIs, Herbeck, Bush, Bernansky, and Washington for the Twins. And, yes, Gary Gaetti did get a base hit already in that game. He's extended his hitting streak to 18, so it's 4-4. First of a twin bill in Detroit. Twins, of course, looking for their 5th in a row in Detroit. Well, when the Boston Celtics took an early exit out of the playoffs, head coach Bill Fitch took a lot of heat. Well, today, Fitch decided enough is enough. He announced his resignation despite 3 years left in his contract. And earlier this week, owner Harry Mangurian had rocked the Celtic faithful by putting that club up for sale. Now, Fitch prowled the Celtic sidelines for 4 years, winning 1 world championship, but as Larry Bird explained, some players just didn't like Fitch.
Best coach in the league. He prepares us well. The thing is, we just don't go out and produce for him. And it's sad because Coach Fitch is a winner. He's the type of guy who'll never give up. And he's the type of guy who'll get you very mentally and physically prepared to play in a game.
And while the Celtics organization is a shambles, the 76ers of Philadelphia are 2 wins away from a world championship. Last night in Philly, they beat the Lakers 103-93. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was LA's main man down the stretch. With Moses Malone in foul trouble, the 76ers look for Earl Cureton to help. Kareem finished with 23 points, and Malone managed 24, despite spending most of the fourth quarter on the bench. However, Philly pulled away in the final minutes, converting outstanding defense into points off the break. The series resumed Sunday in L.A., and despite all the 76ers shooting stars, Julius Erving credits the defense.
You know, I think our team has the capacity to play great defense as well as great offense, and you want the defense to be there every night. And, you know, we don't want to depend on one end or the other to win, but if we like to have something there every night, we'd rather it's the defense than the offense.
A rather ho-hum, quiet day at the French Open today. What with John McEnroe off the court, there were no unusual incidents nor any major upsets. Top-seeded Jimmy Connors advanced to the final 16, as did Ivan Lendl, Yannick Noah, Brian Gottfried, and Eric Fromm from the United States. Connors attempting to become the first American male to win this event since Tony Trabert did so in 1955. In women's play, second-seeded Chris Everett Lloyd downed Yvonne Goolagong in a little over an hour, 6-2, 6-2. Hannah Manlikova, Ann Hobbs, and Kathy Horvath also advancing today. You can cross Bob McCammon's name off the list of prospective North Star coaches. McCammon announced today that he is staying as head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. McCammon will also become the team's general manager. And every once in a while we run across a play that didn't quite make one of our highlight packages, but certainly deserved to be shown. Well, such is the case with a scene you're about to see. An incident that John Wald, a quarterback for the Boston Breakers of the United States Football League, would just as soon forget about. You see there, John lines up to snap here with one problem. A look again, Wald lines up behind his guard. But quick thinking tells him to move next door and take the snap from center. Well, John, your quick thinking has earned you our Play of the Month award, and our congratulations to you. Andy Bean has fired a 5 under par 67 today to take over the lead at the Memorial Golf Classic in Dublin, Ohio. Bean is 2 shots ahead of Ben Crenshaw after today's second round. Back to that football play. I thought that he had lined up at the center, noticed something going on down the line, but I guess we've all run into those embarrassing moments.
Why didn't the center take the ball and give it to the guard?
Let the guard do the snap. That'd be easy, wouldn't it?
I thought the guy with the towel was the one you got behind anyway.
It's supposed to be.
I know. That's why I got confused.
You can go out there. That's it for tonight's 6 p.m. report.
But we will be back again tonight at 10. Hope to see you then. Good night, everyone.
Hi, I'm Steve Doyle.
And I'm Pat Brown. On tonight's PM Magazine, Steve and I visit Amusement City in Maplewood.
And we'll meet the reigning king of the Indy 500, Gordon Johncock.
These classic illustrations are brought to you by the only name you need to know in fine German wines, Weber. We have a dry, delicate Weber, a graceful, refined Weber, a smooth, semi-dry Weber, a soft, refreshing Weber, and a fragrant and crisp Weber. Great German wines are pronounced Weber.
Ready for a shock? I found out all fabric bleach works best in hot water. I also found Borateam, the borax bleacher. It's specially formulated for warm water washing. So when I switched to warm for brightening colors, I switched to Borateam, the borax bleacher.
When I switched to warm to remove stains,